Israel's central bank says the war on Gaza has become a burden on the economy. The estimated cost may reach $58 billion by the year 2025. The central bank governor has urged the Israeli government to curb its public spending and cut interest rates from 4.75% to 4.5%. Israel has spent $6.6 billion in various aspects of its war, including funding for the more than 100,000 displaced people. Some $249 million have been put aside for mental and physical health care, and the total cost of rebuilding in some areas could reach $174 million, including towns near the Lebanese border that sustained damage in cross-border fighting. While Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told his ministers to share in the burden of sweeping budget cuts, his cabinet is meeting for a second day to discuss amendments to this year's budget. Netanyahu wants to increase military spending to help finance the war on Gaza. The conflict could cost Israel $24 billion this year. Let's bring in Stefanie, Dekker, who's live for us in occupied East Jerusalem. Stefanie, so an Israeli cabinet meeting to approve the military budget, and there could be some fireworks.
There are already fireworks, Folly. We understand one of the ministers walked out in a screaming match yesterday, according to one source, calling where to make these cuts is a political hot potato. Just to give you used a lot of numbers there. One number that shocked me is that how much does this war cost Israel a day? $269 million a day. So that gives you just an indication of, also in those words, that what a burden this war is also on the Israeli economy. As you mentioned there, it's not just funding the war, the weaponry, it is the reservists, it's feeding them, housing them, weaponry, and then it's the over 100,000 evacuees, not just from the Gaza border, but also from the Lebanese border in the north of Israel. They have to be housed in hotels. They also are being paid by this government thousands of shekels a month. It is a very difficult discussion. You mentioned there, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the cabinet Sunday morning as these talks started. He said he was willing to stay all night and that this was a burden that needed to be shared. At the moment, we understand some of the figures to give you. They think they need about $18.3 million increase. Education ministry cuts $239 million perhaps. The health ministry will probably get over $100 million of cuts as well. Some criticism saying that things like social welfare, a lot of things being affected. So it just goes to show the impact, the widespread impact that this war is having.
Thank you, Stefanie, for that. Stefanie Dekker, live there in occupied East Jerusalem.